everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I have my October wrap-up. So October was a really weird month for me. It felt super long and super short at the same time. And even though I did okay with reading, I felt very, very slumpy, and I read the least amount of days total for the month out of any single month in the year so far. I think I only read like 18 days total out of the 31. And so even though it's not my worst reading month, I read the least amount of days. And so I just felt very off of my reading game, but I do still have 15 books to talk to you guys about, and it does mean that I actually read 3,456 pages in the month of October. We're gonna run over some stats really quickly before we get into the actual books. Of those 15 books, 6 books were middle grade, 7 books were young adult, and 2 were adult titles. 1 was an ebook, 2 were audio, 5 were ARCs, and 7 were physical books. And then for the star ratings, I had 1 2-star, 3 2.5 stars, 1 3-star, 3 4 stars, 2 4.5 stars, and then 5 5-star reads. So now we're going to jump into the books. We're going to go from my least favorite books of the month all the way up to my favorite. So I'm going to talk about the first 4 books together, so my 1 2-star and my 3 2.5 stars, because they're all from the same series. I read the Just Beyond graphic novel middle grade series from R.L. Stine, and I really did not like them. I have the first 3 here. So we have The Scare School, which this is actually part 1 of an actual like series in the Just Beyond series where everything else is a standalone. Then we have The Horror at Happy Landings. We have Welcome to Beast Island, and we have Monstrosity. Now, I will say that I do think these have gotten slightly better with each subsequent book. So my least favorite was The Scare School, and then this one, and then this one. And Monstrosity I do think was slightly better. However, they still are only like 2 or 2.5 stars. My main issue with this is that these are a middle grade graphic novel, but they have a lot of, not dialogue, but narrating what is actually happening on page. So these are graphic novels. You shouldn't have to tell me, he's gonna show everything to the camera by the way. You shouldn't have to tell me what is happening on page. So a lot of it was being narrated and it was very dry to read. I don't think these were good middle grade graphic novels. It felt like it was written for a much younger audience. And it also felt like when R.L. Stine was writing this, because I've read stuff by him and absolutely loved it, like Goosebumps stuff, Fear Street stuff. I don't know if it was maybe the format, because I don't think I've ever read a graphic novel from him, but they were just not fitting together very well. This is also one of those ones where the main characters are young kids. Like I said, this is middle grade, but one of the plot points that happens in like every single one of these books is that the adults are either evil or idiots. Like there was one where the adult couldn't recognize that their kid had something wrong with them, even though they were with them on a trip, and like they were just being an idiot. And then they also had parts where like one adult was potentially evil. I'm not gonna say if they were or not, but it was for reasons that didn't quite make sense to me. Like they were trying to be an adult and be responsible, and everything because of that was like, oh well, they're evil. Like it was just not quite what I was looking for. I will say that there is a TV show based on this on Disney Plus, which I actually have watched. I think I sort of marathoned the entire thing, because it's like maybe just 8 episodes, something like that. Those ones are actually for a older audience. All of the kids in that show are teens, and so a lot of the stuff that happens in those ones are teen type of things. They do have some sort of like morals and, you know, after school special like type of feel to it, but they are older than these books, and none of the stories here were in the TV show. Both of them though did feel a little bit Twilight Zone-ish, like that's what they were hoping for. It just didn't quite work out. Moving on to my 3 stars, I have Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Khaw. This one is a novella, very short, like 120, 130 something pages, and it is supposed to be a like horror, haunted house type of thing, and some of it was good in the actual like atmosphere and the hauntedness of it. However, I only gave it a 3 stars for a couple reasons. One is that I felt like it was very, very short. And I mean that in a lot of this is dealing with our main character and her friends, and they have a lot of interpersonal problems based on their relationships as friends, as exes, all these kind of things. And they wanted us to just know that this had happened previously to the book, and I was really, really hoping for more resolution or more reasons why, or more like what actually freaking happened before the book started, because it just was like, hey, this person doesn't like this person and this person did this, but like we don't actually know why. And so I was really hoping for more of the actual characters, more than just like the atmosphere of the spooky house. And then also, this is one of those stories that is very purple prose, very full of similes and metaphors, to the extent that I did not sometimes understand what was being described. I prefer writing that is very straight to the point, not a lot of similes and metaphors, because I really just don't understand it. It takes me like twice as long to read things like that when it's not just like, here's what is happening. And they were using similes and metaphors for like hair and legs and the house, and like every single thing that they could describe had something about it that was not grounded in reality, and so I had a really hard time getting into that part. But like I said, the atmosphere when we were getting into some actual spooky things was good, but 3 stars for the overall book because of that. However, I would be interested in reading more from this author. Moving into my 4 stars, the first one I have is Mouthful of Ashes by Brianna Morgan. This is a self-published book that is also like a novella length, and it is about vampires. So this one, again, I really liked the atmosphere. I loved the like spooky, creepy, is it actually happening, is it not, vampire type of stuff. But for this one, the only reason it is not a full 5 star, because it was very quick to read, I really liked getting into it, was that there was a relationship in it that happened so quickly that I wasn't fully able to believe that our main character trusted them as soon as they did, and it just sort of ended up making the story happen quicker. Like, I almost wish it was a slightly longer book so that we would have had more of that development of that relationship, because I really did like the writing style, I really did like the characters, but I just didn't fully believe some of the quickness of the pacing. The next 4 stars I have here is Don't Die Dragonfly by Linda Joy Singleton. This is actually a reread for me from years ago, like from the early 2010s. But I still really enjoyed this. I think originally I gave this 5 stars, and now that I reread it, I gave it a 4, just because it did go by pretty quickly. It's a little surface level on characters, like I would have wished for a little bit more, but we do have a main character who can sort of see into the future. She has these dreams sometimes, and she has a premonition of somebody with a dragonfly tattoo in trouble, potentially like deathly trouble. And so it is part like paranormal, supernatural, witchy stuff and part mystery, and it was very, very quick to get through because like I said, I had read it before, but just the storyline and the way it was written was really nice that way. I have the entire series of this, and I've read the first 2 out of 6 books previously, so now that I reread this one, I think I need to actually go pick up the rest of them from my TBR shelves and continue, because like I said, very quick to read. I think I read this in 1 day, and I would like to eventually finish the series because I never did. And then my last 4 stars is A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. I'm still not super happy about this cover. I really wish it had the original darker cover, because that fits the vibe of the book so much more. But this one, again, the actual spooky, creepy, what is happening vibes were really, really good. This is about a girl who goes to like a specialized boarding school type of thing, and she's going back there now after some time away because her girlfriend, I believe, died there like previously in the year, and now there's a new girl there that's sort of questioning what happened. There is stuff with like witches that used to go to the school and stuff like that as well. And yeah, the actual like what is happening, like the mystery sort of aspect with this book, like I did not see the ending coming, but I really, really loved the ride of how we got there. And it was just one of those ones that it wasn't quite a full 4 stars, because I do feel like it started a little bit slow, and I don't know, again, if it was me being a little slumpy or whatever it was, but I felt like it took me a little while to get into the book. The characters are a little bit quirky and weird, because it's just like that's the type of book that this is, but I really loved the payoff by the time we got to the end. Moving into my 2 4.5 stars, the first one is Doing His Best to Confess Volume 1 by Satoru. So this was an advanced reader copy that I got from NetGalley that I absolutely loved. I definitely need to continue in this series, but basically this is about a boy who is sort of shy, very quiet. All the girls think he's like super cool because he just doesn't really know how to talk to people, and he does have a crush on a girl and he's trying to figure out how to tell her, but because he is so shy and everything, he is having the darndest time trying to do this. And it was just such a cute, wholesome book. Like, I loved the characters so much, and we're working our way up to trying to get him to confess. And so yeah, I loved reading this and I definitely need the next one. And then my last 4.5 star, which was actually sort of surprising for me, is Altered by Jennifer Rush. So this one I read in a vlog that I will leave linked down below, but it was a try a chapter vlog where I had a pile of books that I was getting rid of in an unhaul, but I was unsure about some of the books in that pile, and so I decided to try a first chapter of them and see if I wanted to continue them. And if I did want to continue, I was going to continue and read them this month, so I wouldn't just put them back on the shelf. And I read this one, really enjoyed it. I went into it thinking it was some sort of paranormal romance. It ended up turning into more of a sci-fi, potentially superhero mystery thriller spy thing-esque type of book, with slight romance, but not like a romance book. I still had a really fun time. Like, it was a super quick read. I loved the characters, and like I said, there was some sort of mystery thriller aspect in it, so I did not want to put it down. Like, I just had the best time. I read this in like 2 days, and I've had it on my shelves for a while, but I was so glad that I finally like forced myself to try it, because yeah, this is a book that I think came out in like the early 2010s. It's been on my shelves for a while, and it was definitely not what I was expecting whatsoever, because I went in expecting the completely wrong thing, but I really enjoyed it. I have the second one. I definitely need to read it. Then we have my 5-star reads. So the first one I have here is The Last Witch, Fear and Fire by Connor McCreary. So I actually read the first 3 issues of The Last Witch earlier this year, and this was an advanced reader copy of the first volume, because this is supposed to be a multi-volume series. Like, I do know that this does not end at an ending, but I still really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars, obviously. I really did enjoy the issues as I read it as well, and this one is a young adult, teen rated comic series. It does get quite dark though, and it's basically about this girl who I want to say is probably around 12 or so, finding out that she is a witch and having to defeat these other evil witches that like eat children and that kind of stuff. And it is beautifully done. It also has Irish mythology and stuff like that in there. I just absolutely loved it, and I need more in this series because, like I said, it did not end on like an actual ending. It had like a sort of cliffhanger ending. There is more to the story, and I need more. And then I also read another arc, which this one is Specter Inspectors by Bowen McCurdy. This one I had been following, I believe, the artist for a while, and so I knew that this was going to be showing up eventually. And as soon as I saw it on NetGalley, I was like, please let me read it because I need to. And I got an arc, and I definitely need to own this now. This is an actual like complete graphic novel. I don't think it's a comic, and it is about Specter Inspectors, which is what it's called, but it's about this group of teens that basically go around and try and do a YouTube channel video type of series about ghosts. Like, they're going around looking for paranormal hauntings, and they end up finding one, and one of them gets possessed, and it all goes from there. So we have some really good creepy moments. We have really good like found family and friend moments, and I just absolutely love this. I definitely need to pick up a copy and own it, and the art style is gorgeous. That's the whole reason I knew about this one. Then another 5-star read is American Royals by Katherine McGee. This is another one that I had in the try a chapter tag video, and again, I'm so glad I read it because this was another one that I didn't really want to put down because it's very much like soap opera-esque. Like, there's so much drama in here. It follows 4 different girls in the American Royalty Society, because this is on an alternate timeline if George Washington didn't become president but became king. So we have Beatrice, who is going to be the first ever like woman in line for the throne, the next first queen sort of thing, and she is descended from George Washington. We have her sister Samantha, who is like the spare royal. And then we also have Samantha's friend Nina, who is more of a commoner but has been Samantha's friend for a while. And then we also have Daphne, who is not quite royal but wants to be. And like I said, it is very much drama filled. This could have been the perfect like TV show. It ended like you would expect a season 1 to end. So much drama. This is a duology, and because of the way it ends, I definitely need the next one because it is sort of on a cliffhanger. We don't have everything wrapped up perfectly in this one, but it was so good. So much drama. I loved it. And then my last 2 5 stars, I'm actually going to talk about them at the same time because they are from the same series. I read City of Ghosts and Tunnel of Bones by V.E. Schwab. So the first and second book in the Cassidy Blake series. And actually City of Ghosts, the first one in the series, is my favorite book of the month. These are middle grade, paranormal, slightly horror-esque books that I just absolutely love. I actually listened to them on audio. The audio narrator is amazing, but we follow our main character of Cassidy Blake, who like earlier in the year almost died by drowning, got saved by a ghost, and now she can see ghosts and like move into the veil and all this kind of stuff. And her parents don't know she can do this, but they are part of a show called Specter Inspectors, which I thought was funny because of the graphic novel I also read. But her mom believes in ghosts, her dad doesn't, he's a skeptic, and they have started a TV show called Specter Inspectors, and they are taking her during summer vacation to different places that have ghosts, and different spooky adventures ensue from there. So the first book is in Edinburgh, Scotland. The second book is in Paris, France. I do know that there's a third book and I think final book in the series. I have not read that one yet, but I definitely need to because I gave both of these ones 5 stars. I absolutely loved the characters and the story. It does get sort of spooky, but it's middle grade, so it's not too crazy. And I just really love these. Again, if you're looking for an audiobook though, like I really love the narrator of this as well. I listened to these in the car when I was going out for appointments and things. So good. I actually have this one because Jessi from The Bookish Mom sent it to me last year for Christmas, I believe, and I just finally read it. But I'm so glad I did. I know this is one of her favorites as well. She loves V.E. Schwab, who is actually who this is. Victoria Schwab, V.E. Schwab, same person. But yeah, I absolutely loved it so much. And those are all 15 books that I read in October. Like I said, better than I thought I was going to do, just because I was so slumpy. But overall, quite a bit got read. So it's not a bad thing. It's just hard to see when you're currently feeling slumpy compared to when you get to look back and actually see how many things you read. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos up Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I will see you then. Bye!